What if the biggest obstacle between you and the life you're meant to live isn't a stranger, isn't an enemy, isn't even bad luck? What if it's the people sitting across from you at dinner tonight? Stay with me on this one, because there is a single devastating moment buried in one of the oldest texts ever written that will change how you see every difficult decision you've ever walked away from. You've been carrying something lately, haven't you? Not a tragedy, not some grand crisis, something quieter than that. You know exactly what you need to do. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a decision, maybe it's finally walking away from something that's been suffocating you. But every time you get close to doing it, you see their faces. Your father's disappointment, your mother's silence, which somehow cuts deeper than shouting ever could. Your brother pretending everything's fine when nothing is fine. Your best friend who won't say it out loud, but you know, they'd feel betrayed. So you stay. You shrink yourself to fit a space someone else made for you. Not because you're weak, but because the people standing in your way are the very people you take a bullet for. Let me tell you about Rohan, 31 years old, sharp mind, steady hands, the kind of person everyone leans on without ever asking if he needs something to lean on himself. Rohan runs the family garment business in Surat. His grandfather started it with a single sewing machine in 1971. His father expanded it. His uncle manages the accounts. His younger brother joined last year, bright-eyed, excited, already talking about taking things online. And Rohan? Rohan has wanted to be a doctor since he was 14. He remembers the exact moment, sitting in a rural hospital corridor, watching his mother wait 6 hours for a doctor who never came. He remembers her face, the helplessness in it. He has never, in 17 years, forgotten it. 2 years ago, quietly, telling no one, he cleared the medical entrance exam. The acceptance letter has been in his desk drawer for 3 weeks. Every night he pulls it out, reads it, folds it back, returns it to the dark. Because Rohan's enemy isn't failure, it isn't doubt. Rohan's enemy is love. Every single person he would need to disappoint to follow this dream is someone who has given him everything. There's a woman in Rohan's life named Kamala, his grandmother, 83 years old, frail hands but eyes that miss nothing. The kind of woman who says little and sees everything. One evening, Rohan sits with her on the terrace. The sun is setting over the city. He hasn't said a word about the letter, but she studies his face the way only grandmothers can and says, "You look like a man standing at the edge of a battlefield, beta, and you're not scared of the fight. You're scared of who's standing on the other side." Rohan breaks, just breaks. He tells her everything, the exam, the letter, the guilt, the sleepless nights. And when he finishes, Kamala is quiet for a long, long time. Then she says something he will carry for the rest of his life. Before you decide what to do, you must first have the courage to truly see. To see who you would be hurting, not as obstacles, not as villains, but as the people you love, and to still choose your path. That, beta, is the hardest kind of seeing there is. What Kamala described, without knowing it, is one of the most devastating moments in all of ancient scripture. In the Bhagavad Gita Chapter 1, Shloka 26, there is a verse in Sanskrit. Tatra pashyat sthitan partha pittinat pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratin putran pautran sakhins tatha. It means, there Arjuna saw, standing before him, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, and friends. Listen to that list again. Fathers, grandfathers, teachers, uncles, brothers, sons, friends. These aren't invaders. These aren't strangers. This is everyone Arjuna has ever loved. Everyone who taught him to walk, to fight, to dream. And they are all lined up on the other side of the battle he knows he must fight. This isn't a verse about war. This is a verse about what it truly costs to see clearly. Here's what led to this moment. Arjuna, the greatest warrior of his age, asked his charioteer to drive him to the center of the battlefield. He wanted to survey the enemy. He was prepared for war. What he was not prepared for was what he actually saw. Because lined up in the opposing army were the very hands that had raised him. Bhishma, his grandsire, who once held him as a child and told him he was destined for greatness. Dronacharya, the teacher who placed the first bow in his young hands. Uncles who had fed him, cousins he had wrestled with as a boy, friends he once laughed with under the same open sky. And in that single act of seeing, truly seeing who stood against him, Arjuna didn't become weak, he became human. Just like Rohan, standing in his family home, clutching a letter that carries everything he's ever wanted, realizing that every person he'd have to walk past to reach that door is someone whose heart would crack. That is the devastating truth of this verse. It doesn't ask you to fight monsters. It asks you to face the people you love and still choose your truth. Rohan doesn't leave the next morning with a packed bag and a dramatic goodbye. That's not how life works. What happens is slower, harder, more honest. He tells his father first, not with defiance, with tears. He places the letter on the table between them. His father doesn't speak for 2 days, 2 full days of silence that feel like drowning. His brother calls him selfish. His uncle says the business will suffer. His best friend, his partner in the company, stares at him and whispers, "I thought we were building something together, Rohan." Every one of those words lands like a blade, because none of them are wrong. That's the part no one tells you about following your path. The people you leave behind aren't villains. They're people with their own dreams that happen to include you. But here's what else happens. His grandmother Kamala holds his hand the night before he leaves, and she whispers, "They will hurt, then they will heal, and then beta, they will be proud." 3 years later, Rohan is completing his residency at a district hospital, the same kind of hospital where his mother once waited in vain. His father still doesn't talk about it much, but last month he forwarded an article about the doctor shortage in rural India to Rohan's phone. No message attached, just the link. That link said everything words never could. Now, a quick check. You might be living inside this very verse right now if 1. You know exactly what you need to do, but you keep delaying it because someone you love would be hurt by it. 2. You've rehearsed a conversation 100 times in your head, but have never once said it out loud. 3. You feel guilty, not for doing something wrong, but simply for wanting something different. 4. The word keeping you trapped isn't fear, it's loyalty. Here is your Gita Journal question for today, and I want you to truly sit with this one. Who are the faces that flash before your eyes every time you're about to make a decision that's true to yourself? Write their names down, not to blame them, but to finally see them clearly, the way Arjuna did. Share your reflection in the comments below. You might be surprised how many people are standing on the same battlefield tonight. You don't break when you face your enemies. You break the moment you realize the other side of the battlefield has your Father's face.